Good morning, people of Gaia. It's finally here. Ending Explained Deep Dive 6. Aerith, to be or not to be. It's one or the other. This deep dive will explore a miracle. The passing of unfair, crushing destiny from shoulders divine to shoulders innocent. And the tragic beginning of the end of someone we love very, very much. So let's get into it. This video, one could say, is the big one. Not because it's the longest, that will be the next and final deep dive, but because it establishes two quintessential understandings that help align hearts that have been praying since 2005. What is Aerith to be or not to be, as seen by her mortal friends who just want to experience life with her? And why does conclusively resolving what her fate is at the end of Rebirth becomes something transcendently familiar, extending back 27 years. Aerith. It was too late for her by the time of chapter 14. It was too late for her on the sky wheel, when she sang, when she acted in the play. The window for a changed destiny had closed down upon her before Rebirth even started. In Remake, Omni Aerith had already accepted that she was going to die, and in the exact same circumstance. Throughout Remake, this doomed acceptance permeated Miss Gainsborough of the Beagle timeline. Aerith never had any hope of romantically being with Cloud, or Zack, or just enjoying life with any of her friends past the City of the Ancients. She has not stood a chance since before the original Cloud jumped off a bombing run train. In the Final Fantasy VII pamphlet, there is mention of a doomed love. Aerith was chosen for murder before she ever gave Mr. Strife a flower. She has carried that hard fate as only a goddess could for nearly 3 decades. Losing her memory of this for most of Rebirth is what gave her a sensation of what life and freedom are supposed to be like. It's not a play. Explaining what state of existence Aerith is in the end scenes is strikingly difficult. When she appears in the green-lit caverns, only Cloud can see her. Further, she makes no noise other than to talk. There are no sounds of footsteps, for instance. It seems that her physical manifestation is not entangling with her world environment at all, other than with Cloud. Later, out on the plains, Miss Gainsborough again appears in a state of existence where only Cloud can see her. However, Nanakai evidently can sense her. And yet, when Cloud is not paying attention to her, she is not physically manifest. Nobody can see her, including us. Unfortunately, in an exposition of true horror, the same observation about the very faculty of existence, something that we all take for granted, coinciding with Cloud's attention, holds true for other heroes. Here is Tifa and Nanakai. Once Cloud has noticed them next to Miss Gainsborough and noticed the flowers. And here, from that exact same vantage point, are those lovely flowers. But Miss Lockhart and the son of Sato both are not there. They're not dead. They're just not there. They don't exist. What is going on here will be a deep subject in the final Ending Explained. But to further reinforce that this macabre terror is holistic, not an accident, here is Cloud in the background from the hero's perspective. And here is Tifa and Nanakai in the background from Yuffie's perspective. Existence, bodily manifestation, is not reliant on Cloud, except when it's Cloud's perspective. Except this is more than just a matter of perspective.
Whatever we had, I think the Whispers took it from us when we left. It seems Arbiters of Fate can do whatever they want.
So you told us.
Oh, did I? I wonder if this means we'll eventually forget they even exist.
There is a reason Genovaroth is creating a containment pattern around Tifa's memories in the lifestream. Look closely. Those are not just rocks. Genovaroth is cutting off those memories from the reality around them, as whispers always do when encircling something, from Aerith's rainbow reality to the bloody altar, to the singularity of fates, to Wedge's impossible survival, and beyond, uniformly. Likewise, in this innocent scene, why is there a containment pattern in the background? Why is Genovaroth trying to separate Tifa from the rest of existence? Another little push, one worse than murder of the very person who saves Cloud after his fall from grace that Genovaroth is very aware of. That is why, and this is what ending, as Sephiroth at the edge of creation calls it, ceasing to exist as phrased in the material Ultimania. This is what that looks like. All those memories lost, like tears in the rain. The insane, dark god, one of the most learned beings in creation, seems to understand that emotional entanglement and being can coincide, that they can inextricably lead to each other. So with Aerith on the plains is what we're observing. Emotional entanglement with the avatar of creation. Is it somehow allowing Aerith to be? Complicating any adjudicating of just what Aerith is on the plains are the observations that she is now responding more to her world environment. Her dress flutters in the wind, just like everyone else's effects do. And yet, when the tiny Bronco's engine backfires, her bodily manifestation does not flow with it. It does not react to it. It seems her physical being is reacting more to the world environment than in the cave, but not entirely. What's going on? Not long after this, her footsteps can now be heard. She responds to the wind and the whirl of the tiny Bronco's rotor blades. She appears in this now to be even more fully entangling with her world environment, reality as we on Earth call it. To try and encapsulate all these perplexing sets of circumstances in a named idea, a label, can be impossible, or, hallelujah, hallucination. Is Aerith a hallucination of Cloud's, or a trans-dimensional interaction with his mind, as Sephiroth had been throughout Remake and Rebirth, as Nanakai was able to censor, something no one was able to do before this, relative to a hallucination, including Aerith? Some sort of mental interaction of any sort, as we've known them, is extremely unlikely. Nanakai wouldn't be able to sense it. Lifestream ghost, or divine projection. Is Aerith a lifestream ghost, as we've known them? Aerith of the final scenes is missing the nebulous phenomena witnessed at the bloody altar and in the flower resolution scene. Perhaps then she is a projection of her goddess self, as was true in the final battle against Genovaroth. Or perhaps she is the manipulative projection of another powerful cosmic entity, Genova, as was true in Final Fantasy VII at the Northern Crater when Genovaroth appears as Tifa. Whether ghost or projection of some kind, these states of existence cannot explain the observed uniformly gradual increase of Aerith's bodily manifestation, responding to the world around her, and such stimuli exuding from Aerith's bodily form relative to the world around her would require a continuous attention of minute detail beyond even Chadley's thus far evidenced capabilities. And this extraordinary expenditure of intention and energy would be for something that is irrelevant. Cloud is in abject denial about the situation around him, and at no point notices Aerith is increasingly merging with the Beagle timeline. This is ultimate to recognize. The phenomena surrounding Aerith, this gradual and uniform merging, could not be imitated or projected. No one has the capability, and if they did, they don't have the intent. Thus, What we're observing has to be a representation of a process. I would say a natural process, but as will be shown, what's happening is very unnatural. So Aerith's to be that we witness is extremely likely not hallucination, not life stream ghost, not projection of her goddess self or that of an eldritch virus. So, hallelujah, there is one explanation that meets all the observed phenomena. Everything is memory, everything, just as Sephiroth of Ever Crisis said. This is why, when the black materia was merged with the memory of the Buster's sword, the hexagonal symbol of the DNA rippled down his blade. This hexagonal transduction of livestream visuals is pervasive across all that is Final Fantasy VII, on Mako reactors to Advent children. Everything is memory. If one draws a straight line from the green-lit caverns to the sorrowful goodbye, it seems that the memory of Aerith living is being forcibly merged with the memory world that evolved from her death. Just as Zack walked into a Midgar that evolved from his tragic last stand. But what's happening here? This is different. This is unprecedented. Aerith is not merging with the Beagle timeline. She also does not know what's happening to her. That's why in the Japanese version of Rebirth, she says sayonara, final, goodbye. She thinks she's gone. Aerith is being forcibly merged by a god that has no idea what he's doing or that he's doing anything. This is not Deus ex machina, contrived divine intervention. This merging of memories is an accident and miracle. There is a strong, remarkable, glorious precedent for this exact procession of phenomena, a seeming merging of worlds or memories that does not occur instantaneously. We have seen this before. At the end of Remake, Singularity and its collapse, a merging of worlds took place that was visceral, palpable, violent, transdimensional, and observably gradual. In Remake's final scenes, Rufus looks upon an undamaged helipad. Hojo stands before an unmarred bridge. Both people are then in worlds or memories that evolved from a different memory or past than the one these people knew in Remake, where the helipad and bridge were both heavily scarred. The straight line that connects these two irregularities is revealed at the end of Rebirth, Midgar, without a fallen Sector 6. Final Fantasy VII Midgar, from inside Singularity that Cloud floated over. Final Fantasy VII, where Sector 6 did not fall, where the helipad was not damaged, where the heroes never went into Hojo's fun lab so the bridge wouldn't be touched. And this diametric inconsistency extends beyond the city walls, as the memory established in Remake of Jessie never having been a star was not met in the world of Rebirth that clearly evolved from Jessie having made it under the center stage light. At the end of the world, it is thus demonstrable that Shinra's upper brass and Roche have merged with another world. But was this conjunction gradual, or was it instantaneous, as we often see with the white transition of the in-between? On Destiny's crossroads, for the beleaguered heroes, it is late dusk when Zack's last stand is about to unfold during the day. Later, Rufus's scene takes place in the dead of night, and at some point, the heroes look upon a glorious new dawn, as the cover art triumphantly reveals. A significant passage of time. All night. And yet, later, the gold orb explosion occurs in a Midgar whose seventh heaven sign damage evolved from a different past than that of Remake, around high noon. The same relative time as Zack, whose terrier chip bag flies by. Zack, who survived. And later, this soldier first class and his best friend walk in beleaguered manner toward towards a melancholic sunset that is at the exact position in the sky that the survivors of Remake also observe. This matching of moment in time, despite originally the two groups being separated by at least 15 hours relative to each other, is a merging, and this merging is observably gradual. Merging appears to be uniformly procedural phenomena across worlds, including in the in-between. Worlds exist apart from one another in the rainbow of creation, and it takes time to go from one to the other. This truth also applies to the consciousness of any hero traveling from body to body, as we have seen many, many times. But that will also be explored in the next deep dive. Part 3. Whether an imagination adventurer wanted the events at the Bloody Altar for destiny to change or not, something we are all unified on is the need for catharsis, conclusion. We've been waiting for this since the last millennium, and now we have it. Aerith lives or she does not. Schrodinger's cat requires a lack of observation for more than one differentiating simultaneous state. Fortunately, the multiverse, Guardia, the credits have observed. The phenomena from the planes is not a matter of even the avatar of creation's perspective. The credits offer a finality of definition for what is going on. If equivocally, something terrifyingly, tragically godlike is happening, and nothing like this has transpired before, which matches the observations just discussed, that worlds are being unnaturally, forcibly merged. It is important to define what the credits are, and that they have demonstrated themselves to be far more than a visually pleasing reflection of the journey just traveled. There are situations where the credits differ from what we experienced. For instance, if you had Yuffie for the Skywheel date, the credits still record that Aerith was the princess. If you were Terabad atop a motorcycle, the credits still record that Jessie kissed Cloud. So the credits seem to offer us a view that is beyond relativistic and is what any potential future will evolve from. And there is a divergence in how the credits are represented between Remake and Rebirth. In Remake, they appear in two vertical columns with the occasional memory in the middle. However, in Rebirth, when Cloud was capturing mere snapshots as memories, barely seconds long, as he recovered from his off-world venture, these snapshots are recorded as individual moments, and they appear in a contiguous row. The credits of Rebirth appear to be noticeably more responsive to the hero's story relative to Remake, likely a knock-on effect of the universe warping due to the chains of fate being broken, reunion having begun, or a combination of the two. In Rebirth, the credits represent not only what the universe recorded, but also the nature of what was recorded. How these snapshots are presented is modified by the nature of the story they're representing. The credits evidence themselves as being more than just emotionally galvanizing visuals. They are a catalog of what happened as seen from Guardia, the unknowable cosmic phantom of the opera, the esoteric sentience of the multiverse, what have you. The credits manifest very similarly to the memory globes floating in the rainbow of creation that Genovaroth calls the true nature of reality. In both, a multiversal perspective is observed, the viewpoint of we, the cosmic audience, and not first person through a given hero's eyes. Universal phenomena such as rainbow and the white flash transition are witnessed, as are all events, including those Cloud did not personally see. Various types of realities are represented, including Sephiroth's hallucinatory fire in early Remake, Cloud's hallucination of the Nibelheim flashback in early Rebirth, the world of singularity, which only existed for an hour or two before collapse, Aerith alive at the Bloody Altar in a world that remembers her dying, the memory of Glenn and Sephiroth merging, the trials, the true nature of reality, the virtual reality of the loveless play, and that of the history of the ancients. In both credit and true nature, there is not a single type of reality or world, whether VR, hallucination, or conjoining of memories, that is not represented in both. As Sephiroth of Ever Crisis describes the life stream, existence as memories forming story, this makes sense. No matter the type of consciousness construction, it would be part of the life stream, and thus a memory. Everything is represented. Yet, in the true nature of reality, there is an exception. When Genovaroth forces two orbs, two world memories together inside that macabre combination, the reality is gray, colorless, riven with Genova's black horizontal static. Gaia screams, and there are no memories. When worlds are forced unnaturally together, there are no memories. This is the only state or space-time or world in all of creation where this is accurate. And just like the true nature of realities, the credits also have missing world memories. When across every single possible type of reality, even digital and hallucination, this did not happen. And the missing memories are specifically when the memory of Aerith living visually coexists with the memory that evolved from her death, as if two worlds are being forced to merge unnaturally by a terribly great power, just as in the true nature of realities was done by the avatar of death. Considering the observations made in part 1, which reflect a gradual merging of worlds, we imagination adventurers are left with a distinct and unapologetically brutal answer for Aerith to be or not to be, and it is miracle. Destiny has been changed meaningfully. Upon discovery of this, Sephiroth may just kill her. He's already killed her more than once and is planning to do so with Tifa, and yet all those prayers uttered since that PS3 tech demo have been answered. The unknown journey will continue. Despite the multiversal forces of creation and eldritch virus aligning to execute the innocent flower seller's murder, and Omni make 'em bloom herself choosing sacrifice. One person, alas, who is also tragically a god, decided otherwise. Destiny is changed forever, and this is the beginning of the end. This is that bittersweet melancholy. The metaphysical nature of Aerith's existence, her to be or not to be, has ended. No longer is she Schrodinger's feline companion. She is a half Cetra, half human once more, forevermore. As the perplexing set of circumstances surrounding Aerith's existence at the end of Rebirth, the commencement of reunion amongst them, will never happen again. However, this grounded bedrock of recognition opens up Pandora's box of metaphysical portents. What on Gaia does destiny being irrevocably changed mean? This will be the foci of the next and final deep dive. Herein, though, will be one singular idea, that the reality as the credits roll on Rebirth is that of melancholic murky water where emotion can but get swept away in cross currents of joy and sorrow, just as with the end of Remake before it, and just as with the blissful agony that was the finale of Final Fantasy VII. This is the beginning of the end. What would you do to save someone you love? What would you do if you already have one wing, as has been shown in the Ever Crisis 1-year anniversary event, etc. story? What will Cloud do to save someone he loves? He who has twice already proven he is willing to execute in cold blood when necessary, when protecting those that he cherishes, as he will undoubtedly need to do before Genovaroth's little pushes. justice, as he will undoubtedly need to do before the harshness of life, cause and effect, as we have already witnessed, when beloveds perished as unforeseen consequence before Cloud's heroism on the expressway. What would you do to save someone you love? Even if meteors stopped, extinction looms, but not if someone does something about it. How long can Cloud carry that universe of burden before once more he commands the life stream his will be done? Beloveds do not need to die. They can shelter before him forever. And this impossible decision-making is the exact mentality Genovaroth wishes of the Mako Warrior. Mr. Strife is all alone at the end of Rebirth, as the credits are proof. The fulfillment of Cloud's half of the cosmic rivalry Gilgamesh was able to see and then speak of, an awakening of powers beyond all previous ken has already begun. But just as we loved Aerith these long decades, not because she was the figurehead of destiny, but because, when pricked, her finger bleeds red, so with Cloud, he is not just a being of unlimited potential, he is a blissfully ignorant, unaware, broken young man. The sorrow is not what he will do to save someone he loves, it's what he will become to do it. Apotheosis. Becoming a god is more than just using vast powers to execute endgames, as seen with Genovaroth, and increasingly with Mr. Strife. Tragically and irreversibly, it's far more. We don't know yet all what it means, but we do have a diametric and distressing precedent set. Minerva. She's not dead, but she's also in none of the memory worlds across creation. In a way, it's worse than death, because in no world will Minerva ever incarnate to laugh, cry, get angry, to hug, high five, to kiss, to hold hands, to be kissed, give speeches, to be kissed more than once, to jump off several trains and fall from bridges. And no one will experience these things with Minerva. Experience is the ultimate preciousness that is life. As Aerith stated repeatedly, it is what forms memory. It is existence. It is what Hamlet spoke of at impassioned length when asking the ultimate question, to be or not to be. All the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune are experience. This intangible vitae of life is what shifts the combating omni endgames to the mortal struggle, the play to journey, cosmic chess match to the fragility and beauty of living. With Minerva, apotheosis is the permanent loss of all of this. This universal deification is what was forced on Aerith in 97, and is what Aerith chose for the sake of those she loves, so that it is her and not someone else at the end credits who looks up through the ether, all alone and away from her friends. At least now, that grim future is not guaranteed, not for her. Consider that nothing is coincidence in the remake Rebirth anthology. To stop Genovaroth's abuse of whispers in the final battles required someone commanding whispers against him, and yet Mr. Strife has demonstrated this ability and power. If future memory holds true, to stop Meteor, the end, requires the ability to wield the life stream itself, or all is lost. And yet, with bitter, sweet portents, Mr. Strife has also already demonstrated this ability, this power, without even having yet asked that question about saving those that you love. Nothing is coincidence. At the bloody altar, the rainbow effect could have easily abounded without the green glow, the life stream springing from Cloud's hands. It was a heart-wrenching precedent being set, as was his control of the Black Whispers. Nothing is coincidence. Aerith's sacrifice at the bloody altar will always be drenched in sorrow. What's happening to her thereafter does not change the tears, for her murder was the irrevocable, harsh beginning of the end of an innocent young man who plans for the future, just as Aerith did long ago. Her sacrifice will always be noble. She tried, really tried, to die for her friends, and especially for Cloud, to hold on to that unfair, crushing destiny, to be the omni-goddess that she has masterfully been. Maybe godhood won't require such sacrifice from Cloud, we don't know. But whereas Sephiroth and Genovaroth enjoy awakening Cloud to his true power, all versions of Aerith never do. A troubling insight. Or perhaps Cloud won't have to go that far along the one-way street of godhood. He could stop becoming the immortal sorcerer's apprentice and not use his power heretofore. The progenitor of little pushes might influence this, however. And yet, in this swamp of sorrows that causes acidic pain to claw up through the chest, these murky waters of a mortal losing what it means to be extend as far back as when Aerith touched Cloud, and thereafter anyone who entangled with the two were permanently able to see a different dimensionality in existence, including the Grey Whispers. And thus far, only Cloud has been able to make real where he is what is real elsewhere, including the black and holy materia and Zack. And presumably, if driven to do so for whatever reason, Lucretia. This power, when even Gilgamesh was unable to make manifest the unmanifest forever, as shown when the loquacious being succinctly demonstrated this very convenient and conspicuous and palpable proof of concept, unmanifest to manifest and back. Gilgamesh could not give forever, but thus far, Cloud has. Cloud is the avatar of creation. This swampy, uncomfortable reality we imagination adventurers find ourselves in. There is a flower of bliss, and the flower's color is yellow. Perhaps it is best that Aerith lives, despite her own sagacious views on the matter, despite the impending planet-wide need of a goddess, and despite what we, the cosmic audience, know, our preternatural awareness of what world-spanning needs would have been placed on her goddess shoulders. Perhaps it is better, in the grand scheme of things, that she has a real chance at life. Something that she has never known, ever. Because Cloud, it was too late for him anyways. He is the person of unlimited potential who has the power to break destiny and the credits alike, whether Make 'em Bloom died for him or not. It's been too late for the Mako warrior since before he jumped off a bombing run train. Sephiroth has been obsessing on him from the very outset, when a bird with black feathers flew towards Midgar amidst creepy music, when Cloud needed alignment for his native and natural, twice witnessed cold Machiavellian ruthlessly executing ways. Sephiroth was there before him. When Cloud needed focusing, reminding of the agony within him. When Cloud needed a warning about how brief his time as a mortal was. Note that the warning was not about Aerith. It was about Cloud. The one-winged angel was there. When Cloud needed saving, Sephiroth came for him unbidden. When Cloud needed education that no one else would give him, a blessing of unknown effect, the dark god gave that unto Mr. Strife, unprovoked. In the moment when Cloud was utterly trapped by the chains of fate, the insane one freed him. When Cloud turned away from immortality, Genovaroth gave him a little push. If Cloud dauntlessly refuses to save people, helping create a forever, a manufactured paradise, Sephiroth is with him, ensuring that Cloud embraces the cosmic destiny that he was born into. Since the Mako warrior peered up at we, the cosmic audience, for the first time, each step was an awakening into apotheosis that Mr. Strife didn't even even know he was making, bringing him closer to becoming the god Genovaroth and Ore Sephiroth both want him to be. Cloud never stood a chance. His will be done, and he doesn't even know what that means. He has wrested from Miss Gainsborough that mantle of doomed love from the Final Fantasy VII pamphlet to lay upon his shoulders. Cloud was unfairly fated before any half-cetra lovingly gave him a flower. One day soon, likely the Northern Crater, Mr. Strife will begin to learn what he is. And maybe what that means. It'll be him, all alone, looking up through the ether right before the end credits. But Mr. Strife would not have it any other way. Even if he had a choice, he will have it no other way. Cloud's theme song is about never letting go. Aerith, Tifa, Zack, Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, Ore Sephiroth, tens of thousands and billions of innocent souls. All of them, whatever it takes, just like whatever it took. Cloud, the avatar of creation, the innocent young man, won't let go. The very end of Rebirth. And reality, with all heroes, reappears in the credits. The worlds, through 4 walls and 3 decades, have fully merged. Memory has returned, and the Gaia Cloud Dreamweaver is on. Now remembers Aerith, living, alive, to be. Celebrate this miracle before what it will cost starts to cover controllers with tears. As Miss Lockhart said to Cloud, he says back to her, before he even knows she is threatened by a fate worse than death. He says to all those murdered by alien gods who think and enforce that this is a play. He says to everyone who puts the future in his hands. And he says to someone who after 107 years will finally get to see the high wind. You've saved me. Now it's my turn to save you.
Listening